Welcome to MoocLab's interview series, Life-Changing Experiences of Learning with MOOCs, featuring people from different walks of life, all associated with MOOCs and online learning. My name is Carolyn McIntyre. I'm CEO of MoocLab.club, a community website connecting people to online learning. Today I'll be interviewing Ankit Khandelwal, who pioneered the UNESCO-endorsed Zero Cost MBA using MOOCs to acquire skills to become a global manager. Ankit embraced this project from his home in India and completed over 30 business and culture related MOOCs in order to gain the skills to become a global manager. Since then, Ankit has been promoting online education around the world via blogs, publications, and interviewing other MOOC enthusiasts. In collaboration with MoocLab, he initiated this interview series with an aim to inspire people who are interested in online learning and to serve as a guide and reference. Today, Ankit will be sharing his perspectives on his own MOOC journey. So, hello, Ankit.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good morning in UK and good afternoon in India.
Yeah, we're just the afternoon now in the UK. So you're going to talk to us today about your journey with MOOCs, and I understand that you have taken a lot of MOOCs, over 30 in fact, and you started taking them when they first came out. Can you tell us, Ankit, how you actually discovered them in the first place?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It's I was just looking at a tweet which gave me more about what are MOOCs. I was not aware of the MOOCs world at all. It was in June 2012 when I was just browsing through Twitter, and one of my Romanian friend shared a tweet. She shared about that there is a free course from University of California about neurology. She was a digital electronics person. I said, why a digital electronics person studying biology? So I was curious to follow her tweet, and that led me to Coursera website. And that's how I discovered MOOCs. And I joined one or two courses about. It was first one from University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School, Introduction to Operations Management, and simultaneously I discovered NoEd. That was Venture Lab that time, the course from Stanford University, Technology and Entrepreneurship. It somehow coincided with what I was planning to do in the longer term. And when I discovered them, I forgot about what I was doing and started things doing full time, because it's a wonderful opportunity I got. And over the course, when I develop my project or work towards finishing it on gaining knowledge and trying to practice the knowledge gained through my own projects, and the MOOCs also developed. They became older, they modified, they remodified, and they keep giving new insights, and they are experimenting in a new way. So it was very much a kind of cordial relationship. I keep getting the course I wanted to study as part of my my vision to gain skills, as you already mentioned, and yeah, and keep going better and better.
Yes, it's a fascinating story. The UNESCO endorsed Zero Cost MBA. Can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to start this project?
There's no proper answer why I started. It's it's been many years since I was involved in developing my own skill in manager levels, participating in student organization, and working with the different social activities, and attending conferences, leading teams, designing competitions. And so I was developing my skills simultaneously apart from my engineering education. And it was, I think, European Commission in September 2011 when I was university representative. I could sense, okay, do I have ability to sense how things can work in interdisciplinary way. There's no proper solution. If there's a complex problem, whether it's a business organization or whether it's government, the challenges today in 21st century are interdisciplinary. They cannot be solved by one simple method. And later I found, okay, I really have potential. I can sense how things how the different angles can be added to a particular problems. Either it's business, either it's technology, either it's policy, and it has transformed when I've been to Young Environmentalist Camp in Azerbaijan, and then I won one of the best exchange blog award for cultural understanding in 2012. So it all things it started adding up. And when I returned back India from my graduation, I realized, okay, this is what I like to do. I could sense the problems corporations are facing. I could sense, okay, I have ability to understand different departments, different functions, and I see, okay, the person or the future manager who is going to manage maybe 5, 10, 15 years has to have understanding of how different functions work, because the problems of 21st century are much more complex. They cannot be solved by just one direction. So this entire planning comes into picture, and I spend quite a lot of time on finding out the skills needed for that kind of person, and then obviously I went ahead. That's what we call zero cost MBA.
And how did you go about looking for what skills are required? Is that something that you did by talking to people, or did you look on the internet?
Yeah, it was around 2 months of brainstorming session. I spent reading the reports, first about the recruiting agencies like Randstad, Adecco, to figure out, okay, what kind of skills they are predicting to have in future. Second, I try to understand what kind of skills a corporation might need, and also I try to study the kind of problems corporations are facing now. And I use my own experiences because I've been to many conferences working with different kind of people leading teams in intercultural settings. So I do know what kind of problems arises, and I use my own imagination what things can happen in future. That's just we can't imagine everything, but it's just a guess. And I studied the reports of like World Bank, World Economic Forum, and some of the cases, some of the articles from Harvard Business Review, to figure out what kind of challenges are going to come. Let's say disaster. It's although okay, it looks like a manager doesn't need to study disaster, but it affects the business. It's already affected a lot of businesses in Thailand. If there's a flood or there's a drought, it does affect not just professionally but also personally. So knowing a bit, not exactly becoming expert, knowing such things a bit can help. Let's say more about the geopolitical situations. It is, we all know what's happening around the world, and one thing change in one place can simply affect, and the world moves in a very fast and complex manner. So I tried to figure out, okay, these things can be, and for to have a base, I have like 2 to 3 programs which I tried to say, okay, this can be based upon. First one was White House Fellows Program. I believe United States is a superpower in the world, so those people who are being selected as diplomat, young age, future diplomat, they need to undergo some, they need to have some sense of some level of skill, interdisciplinary profile. So that I based on, and one I studied the World Economic Forum program for. I'm not sure the name. It has some qualities a person needs to have a global knowledge and global understanding. And the third one was I tried to see what to teach in current in management. I used the open course where syllabus of MIT Sloan School of Management that's available for everyone. So I kind of use every public information which is available to figure out what are the challenges coming up future, and what are the things person needs to have to become that kind of person who can handle this interdisciplinary challenge is going to come. And then I match them with my own interest. Okay, what kind of skills I have, plus what are my own interests, and what more skills I need to develop to become such kind of person. And that's very risky. It's risky because I finished graduation from a top university in the world, and everyone expects me to join a firm, and I was doing the same. I think, okay, let's join the firm, we can postpone this few years later. But the job hunting didn't prove, like just 2 months, and then I discovered Coursera. So there was no reason I couldn't miss this. And then I went ahead, and I spent more time in these projects to do things rather than learning things. So it's like more 30% learning knowledge, gaining knowledge, and 70% applying the knowledge.
Yes, which nowadays is something which is very much sought after by employers. You acquired these skills primarily using MOOCs. Would you say that you are as skilled as somebody who may have studied an MBA using traditional methods?
Yes, I may be better skilled in some areas, I would say. Well, there's first of all, I don't like to have comparison. Many journalists previously interviewed asked me the same question, but I don't like to draw comparison. I could simply sense that many of the MBAs I've seen, or let's say not MBA in general, uh, critical thinking, speaking in public, working with the teams or people from different cultures, or working in teams. These are some of the skills you can't learn in classroom. They just comes when you do things, or when you work with the people. I work with very different kind of peoples, and I've seen people just crashed during the difficult situation. They don't know what to do. So the managing or manager has to have those qualities, abilities to take control of situation, and he cannot imagine assume that every information he seeks is always available. So I have those qualities, social skills, and I didn't spend much time in acquiring them because I working about them, gained those skills my past 8 9 years. I was working in different settings, and there are many qualities I seen people don't study in MBAs. There's no need to blame, but I said the global manager concept hasn't been envisioned yet. So it's kind of completely new. I'd say mixing the managerial thinking with the cultural studies about languages and gaining knowledge just from reading a newspaper, or understanding a corporation strategy by reading annual reports which is publicly available, and also trying that knowledge in the situation you just see around yourself, and and getting knowledge is just passion and hunger. So I don't say there's a need to comparison. Many people are good. Many people are good in presentations, but I'm much better in implementation. I should say planning is everyone is many people are good, but when it comes to implementation, many people don't even practice what is implementation. They spend a lot of time and they have knowledge, but there are some qualities like I said, public speaking, working in team. These things are more important when you go out in real world. So my project is more about real world, how things happen, and it's very close to reality, and this is how it makes me more different. That's what I can say. That but I don't like to draw any comparison. It's if someone wants to do MBA in a traditional way, he is welcome. I did because I have issues like funding or no reason to go back to university just to get the grades. Because I already proved I'm a good student, capable of doing things, and I wanted to do things the way I believe I have to. So if person can go and gain education going traditional MBA, he's good. If he has to do the way I'm doing, it's risky. He can try it, but there is more about gaining skills the way you like. So I can say this is what I did.
Well, congratulations in any case, Ankit, for your remarkable achievements with it. It is quite inspirational. I must apologise that the quality of the camera in my side over here is not very good. You can barely see me, so I do apologise for that, but hopefully you can hear me all right.
Yeah, I can hear you, but you look a bit like how to say in a movie when you are looking a movie in the theater and suddenly someone pops up. So it's okay. It's completely
yeah,
fine.
I'm not quite sure what's going on there. It started off okay, but it's suddenly gone very dark. So as we've established, Ankit, you have a lot of experience of studying MOOCs, which is a different type of learning than the traditional methods in classrooms. Can you tell us how, at the beginning, you adapted to this new type of learning? Did you find it difficult?
I could say I found it, yes, difficult, and it was slightly different. Not in the sense of self-learning. I was studying open courseware like from past 6 7 years. Now it's more, I believe. It's like 2007 I discovered MIT Open Courseware. So in a sense of self-learning, but in a format, yes, it is how to say, you are totally your own, and the discussion forums. Okay, it was a new phenomena at that time. Plus, I was not that much used to. Okay, you solve things on a paper assignment, and then you fill the details on the not an answer sheet, but on a computer-based assessment, and you need to take care of those decimal points. It doesn't exceed, and trying to discuss more on it in typing, by typing things, and it's like 60,000 student and more, I believe, in my first course, first MOOC. So it was look scary. Oh my God, what's there? How you gonna communicate with those? How you gonna talk? But it worked out. It's like whenever you have problem, there's always someone to help you out, and it was very much self-learning. Or to say not self-learning, collaborative learning, I should say. We were learning from each other, and there were so many different perspectives I could see coming out from those learners. And I spent a lot of time not just in listening lectures, but more about reading the discussion forums, the kind of people, the perspective people are bringing, and trying to analyze the situation in more around me. Okay, I am studying operations management, then I'm going to, let's say I was in a railway station. I was analyzing, okay, one train after another, the queue system, the queuing theory, or how this system can be arranged in a more possible manners. So yeah, it was difficult, but I eventually managed. It's just a passion to know new knowledge and the interesting teachers. I found it MOOCs. It just worked out.
Yes, and I imagine it does get easier the more time and the more experience you have with taking MOOCs. Time management is something which is often an issue with people taking online courses. How do you personally manage your time effectively when studying MOOCs and online courses? Do you have any advice you can share?
Yeah, well, I missed many assignments because of this time difference zone. I almost not able to finish 4 or 5 courses because I just messed up the deadlines. It's like 1 hour or 15 minutes I couldn't submit on time. I'd finished the courses but couldn't get certificate completion. Yes, time management is difficult because of different time zones involved. And my advice will be to not sign up too many courses. Well, I did sign up, but I also unenrolled when I realized. And at one point of time, I was taking 3 courses and with assignments, assessments, and auditing different others. And maybe how to say, familiarize yourself the time zone first, or synchronize your computer watch to make you alert. Okay, this is the time of assignments, and maybe try to, how to say, make it more interesting. It just initially the some courses might feel boring for some people. I've sensed that there was course on microeconomics which was actually good in terms of knowledge, but very little in terms of participation from other for course participants. So I started reading the annual budget of my country, annual budget of another country, and reading different news how the microeconomics theory applied, and it helped to keep my interest in the course. And I finished it. So 10 weeks course, and I finished eventually. So even though the the time required it was less, but I spent more time studying about the course theories rather than the course material. So first thing is to synchronize your watch. Second, maybe manage or understand that the MOOC takes more time than the actual course. If they say 4 hours, it may take 10 hours because it's MOOC. It's not the classroom where someone teaches you and you just make the notes and you go home. Yeah, here you have to study yourself. So you need to take like maybe more time, depends on how fast or slow learner you are. If you're a slow learner, definitely it's 3 times more than what they said. If you're a quick learner, maybe less time than what they are saying. It's third is to maybe engaged with other people, like Facebook discussion forums, or discussion forums here in the Coursera or edX, or try to have, there are many meetup groups in the big cities, so maybe you can join, and this just keep you engaged. It helps you to have some people also doing. It else helps to stimulate your learning. That's because it reduces some your disinterest. Fourth, try to see if you can try to sorry, what's up? Try to see if you can use this knowledge in more real terms. Look around you if you are studying any subjects which you can find useful in solving any problems or your own problems or anyway. It's just generate more interest. So I'm not sure if how to manage time properly, how to say it, because I was doing it full time. As I said in before, 2 years, other than my consulting and freelancing assignments. I was doing it full time, so I had plenty of time to devote. But for other people's, if they want to manage the time, keep it like a new activity. And yeah, that's all I said.
That's very useful, Ankit, and lots of very useful information for people there from somebody who's clearly had a lot of experience. And on the same note, you've already made some suggestions for people to somebody is about to start a MOOC for the first time. Would you give them any advice on how to go about it and how to keep at it?
I'm sorry, Karan, but I think I missed the question. Is it what you're saying about if someone's starting MOOC for the first time? Is it something? Was that
Absolutely. Question? Would you have any particular advice to give someone who was starting a MOOC for the first time?
Okay, this is a very difficult question. I don't know how to give advice, so I made a note actually. I was expecting this question to come out. So the first, I just made because I'm not sure how to get advice in that way. So the first, a person needs to have a curiosity to learn something new and to experiment. And the MOOCs are not something going to kill you if you fail. It's not that you lost something like in university. So a person has to have curiosity to try this MOOCs, new learning, and experiment. And he must have some hunger to learn. Because MOOCs are not for everyone. I get this perspective from myself and from many other people I interviewed before for MoocLab. You person has to have hunger to learn. If he's not having, then obviously he'll get bored. And it requires a lot of desire to finish a 10 weeks course on your own. And the third most important, maybe in motivation or objective to try this learning in a real world, in a real way. It can be either LinkedIn discussion forums or a Facebook discussion forums, or just watching a news broadcast and making your own perspective, okay, about Middle East. If you're studying about Middle East, okay, what's happening, and develop your own viewpoints. Or it can be like, okay, there's some problem in your locality, how we can solve it. Maybe you're not an expert of urban planning, but just take a course and maybe you can put forward some good ideas. So these three things, if a person have in mind, then definitely he can gain a lot from MOOCs.
Great, thank you. And do you think a person needs particular qualities in order to succeed with online courses? And if so, what would those qualities be?
I don't want to say, because there's no particular qualities. It's everyone who wants to learn, explore. It's good enough. But many MOOCs are in English, so a person needs to know English language. Second, it requires a computer connection and broadband computer and an internet connection. So, these are requirements before even you start MOOC. Third, a person able to, that's ridiculous to say, but maybe able to type or communicate, because it's almost self-initiative. Nobody's going to come and tell you anything until you take initiative and ask questions or discuss the situations. And person needs to be, I said before, curious and ready to experiment. That's all I can say. So the qualities are very general. If person wants to do things, he has a necessary tools and equipments to do, to take MOOCs and experiment, then obviously he can do that very well.
Great, some more good advice and insights there from Ankit. So we now know, Ankit, that you have completed a lot of MOOCs over the last couple of years. Can you tell us which was your favorite course or courses and why that was?
I'm just looking at my notes. I believe this question could come up too, because I asked from people. Well, I don't know, because majority of MOOCs were my favorite. Whichever MOOCs I had taken, all were favorite. Yeah, some courses were very boring, but still they provided knowledge, and I could add my interest and passion to get best out of them. But there are a few MOOCs which really good. I really like or do them again or try. So one of them is China X. It's offered from Harvard University. It's around 18 months long course, 10 modules, and it was all about China, from ancient history, not sorry, ancient time, 5,000 years ago till today, and about the future. And there we had like active Facebook group, and we all were encouraging each other to finish. And it was amazing course, I should say. And it's just, despite being length, I'll know a lot about China without being there. And this is the one of the best course I really ask people to take if they have patience to set 18 months. At least I had. And there's one of the courses called Foundation of Business Strategy. That's from University of Virginia, Darden School of Business. And I like this course because the faculty, Professor, I believe, Michael Lennox. I'm sure if I'm right. I'm not sure if I'm right, but so it's kind of a passion he's bringing to his audio videos. When you start, it looks like, yeah, really this person wants to teach in an interesting way. So even to nowadays, nowadays or sometimes I just watch his video lectures just to see, okay, I'm really want to be a passionate person. So I just watch his videos just like that. So this was a big nice course, and I really like the way it allowed to experiment for assessment. We were supposed to analyze a company anywhere in the world or anyone you will like, and it has to be purely assessed. So I chose in Africa and a banking. So I was not at all knew much about Africa nor about banking, but I did, and I know a lot about banking in Africa now because of this project. So it allowed experiment, and I'm not sure if I was in university I could do my own. You are supposed to do the limited. Here you are you are allowed to experiment, and that's what I loved about MOOCs. You can experiment in your learning. And there is one more course that's first MOOCs, one of the first, I should say, the operations management from Wharton School, and that's Professor Christian Jarvis. Okay, I think this is right. So in that course, it was my first MOOCs. So, and plus it was very interesting the way professor taught and his entire experience. And there's a particular assignment, it's called Coursera Operations Challenge. At the end of the course, it was not there before, but professor was very interested to know the people's viewpoint of some of the general situations. So I chosen Stampede. I'm sure you know the word Stampede. Stampede are very common in many of the parts of the world. We in India, we have special situations in temples. A lot of people go during the festival season, and this crowd gets go uncontrolled and people die. So I focused on it, and I was moving towards more trying to learn and to use my knowledge, and this is why I love this operations management. I still today, when I'm standing in a queue, I still start analyzing. Okay, what's the tag time? Okay, how to split the lines, what to do with it, and this entire operation management theory is immersed in the brain now. When I see a queue, I start thinking like that. So this is just what I say is called amazing. And there's one more course, it's called Environmental Law and Policy. It was Professor Donald Hornstein. He's a lawyer, and the way he just gave, we all got legal point just by his lecture itself. So I believe the teachers, there are many good professors who inspire us to do better, to do more. And all MOOCs are good so far I've taken, but there are some MOOCs I'm describing. And I like this environmental law and policy course very much from University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And the last one I like to mention is from IE Business School. It's called Understanding Economic Policy Making. When I took this course, I already had a lot of idea about macroeconomics, a bit of economics, and how geopolitics and economics are connected. But this course taught me about how to understand the monetary and physical policy in a real situations, and that's how I really enjoyed. And we did plan something. We did had a simulator and tried to formulate a company's economic policy, and in a very dummy situation. So that's why I love. Plus, the professor was really interesting, and she really was encouraging us to know more about economics as an individual citizen. Because if we know what's happening in the government, we can plan our own future, and we don't need to sleep every night, being scared of default, or say a crisis, or rate cuts, or physical deficit, or FDI low, or credit rating agency like B- to B+, or whatever the scary items are being in newspaper. So these are my favorite courses.
So from listening to you, Ankit, it would seem that the success of a MOOC is actually down to the professor who's teaching it. Would you say that's the case?
Yeah, in a way, yes, for majority people. For me, some courses I took because I wanted to do them. So the one or two courses, I should say, I didn't study the courses at all. I just went directly to assignment. So there was one course I didn't study the course, no video lectures. I went directly to assignment, finished it, and I got certificate because I knew about the course. So for that course, I can't say it. And one course, there was instructor who not interesting to, not encouraging, not interactive, but still the course material was good. So it depends on who is taking the course. Okay, if I am the person who want to study the course, well, I studied anyway. If I find the material and it is giving what I wanted. But yes, in a way, it depends on the not just professor, but how the course is made interactive. If you find it very boring and too much material to study, too much theoretical, or not much interaction among the participants, yes, people unenroll for the same reason, or it's very lengthy from the prescribed time limits, or if there is a course on accounting and you are coming from, let's say, humanities background with not a single word about math, with not a single knowledge of mathematics, you will find if it course difficult. So uh, it's okay, it's all lot of variables come to picture, but yes, major reason can be professors, how he communicate on the videos.
Right, and would you have anything to say to institutions, organisations who develop MOOCs in a view to improving their efficiency? What factors of a MOOC do you think need to be improved to make them better than they are today?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. I gave a lot of answers to researchers whom I helped in past 1 year, understanding more about MOOCs. The first thing, I must say, it's more about customization. Majority of MOOCs are offered, well, now this is changing, but majority of MOOCs are offered from United States. So they kind of have a content which is very much localized to US, let's say, boundaries a bit more. So many people, let's say, sitting in India or Sri Lanka or China, they might find it irrelevant. If there is a course, I don't like to mention the name, but it was talking about Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, who in, let's say, who in India or let's say South Asia has to worry about Cuban Missile Crisis? It's happened in, maybe it's good to United States. It's not a bad, but you can't relate. If you are from UK, are from UK, if there's a more example from UK which you can relate easily yourself, then it's maybe more, it makes you more interested to pursue further. So that's one thing, customization the course. If, well, that's a different big challenge. It's happening now. Many courses are trying to that, and I believe that happens. The course can cater to much more audience. Plus, the translation. Like I said before, a person needs to know English, and many people may not speak that well English. They can write, read, but they may not understand that well. So if there can be subtitles in different languages. Well, this can help a lot of people, especially in India. I think it can help a lot of people to get benefited from MOOCs. And there's one thing I told to a researcher. It's about the timetable calendar. The many of the courses follows this US based timetable. Like they start, most of the courses start in September or let's say February, considering there is a after the break. And this timetable doesn't work same in many other countries, especially not in India. We have different way of different academic system. So what happens is, at one point of time you have so many MOOCs, you can take more than 3, and one per time there is no MOOCs, interesting MOOCs. And so well, the calendar can be changed if they are offered more periodic basis. I think they are already trying this, about on the demand course, and the few courses are available even after the deadline is passed, and they are giving certificates after once in a 4 months. So if this can happen on the demand course, I believe one of the challenges, especially for different countries who follow different academic calendar, can be solved, especially people who doesn't have time when the course is offered, but they have time afterwards. And Internet connection. Well, I didn't say it's a challenges, but I did face problems with internet connections. I didn't have many times I didn't have broadband connection, and I had to spend a lot of time going to a cyber cafe, downloading lectures, coming back, and then watching lectures and doing assignments. So if the videos can be made, let's say not HD, maybe more, let's say more offline mode, which can be done easily, then yeah, well, more people can study. But I should say this is not a problem of MOOCs. It's problem of the infrastructure of the country. But still, it's a challenge if they can work. So,
thank you very much, Ankit. Hopefully, some MOOC developers who will be viewing this interview will take your comments on board, because there are some very valid points that you've made there. Something that people tend to get hot-collared about is assessment in MOOCs and the methods used to assess people. What are your views, Ankit, on the way people are assessed when studying MOOCs?
Yes, I think assessment needs to be modified. I told to many researchers whom I worked or helped to understand MOOCs about the way assessments are being done now. I prefer to have more project-based learning, if not the multiple choice. I just there are many courses which were nice, offered from a good universities, good professor, but they had multiple choice questions at the end, and yeah, I found it very boring. I'm more of a trying to use them in practical ways. So I designed my own projects to test those knowledge. But if there can be something done about it to have more project-based learning, it can be very good. And the assessment can be based modified, let's say more different for humanities than engineering, and pairing up with people from the same nationalities. This is something I gave when I was studying Latin American culture course. What happens is we had to write an essay about describing what Latin America. I was more interested in the economic part, the business part, and I had to assess the essay of music. Well, it's not a bad idea, but I was not much knowing about music. So assessing the essay or based on music, well, I did assess and I got knowledge. But I could imagine if person who is interested in arts assessing or say peer assessing my essay on economic part. So what can happen in those peer assessment if the people can be paired up properly based on their own interest? Let's say if they can ask before what kind of area suits you, and then they will give me assignment to assess the person who has worked on that kind of area, and the same can go for my assignment. The assessment can be done in that way. And so this is one of the problems, and I believe they will modify it. And I should say prevention of cheating is they are trying. Many people cheat in MOOCs. I've seen it very visibly. People are cheating. There are some courses people are cheating. It looks very bad, because if I'm working hard to make assignments and really getting certificate completion, and some people work in groups, each other helping. Well, that's not bad idea of helping, but telling answers and getting just for the sake of certificate, people are just want to show on their LinkedIn profile. It looks very bad. So prevention of cheating has to be taken seriously, and if that can happen, really these things will go. The MOOCs will be more effective, and the time duration. Well, I don't know how to say it, but the time duration can be modified. The project can be told in the start and can be done in a step by step. It has been tried. There's one of the course, microeconomics from University of Illinois. They tried to they tried to have a project in steps. So you keep submitting after each week. Okay, this is the project report, and it was good. The same person was evaluating, and he was keep giving good feedback, and it just worked. Although I couldn't finish the project and the course itself, but I really liked. I finished the project at the end, and the course also after the end, second attempt. But I really like this way of submitting project, and yeah, if the project-based learning or real world situation can somehow be integrated to assessment, yeah, it will be very interesting.
Right, and a question that I know that you've asked many of the people that you've interviewed, I'd like to take the liberty to ask you as well. Mm-hmm. If you yourself were to design your own MOOC, what would it be and how would you deliver it?
I think I made a note of it. Yeah, it's because I have many ideas, but there's one thing I like to say: how to um, design your own projects, or how to use the knowledge gained from MOOCs in a real world. That's what I like to say. It's MOOCs are so full of knowledge, but without trying them in real world or doing some sort of activity which engages you with the knowledge, um, you won't get the skills. You won't develop the skills. So my MOOCs will be how to use the knowledge gained by MOOCs in a real world to develop the market ready skills or to real world skills. I should say that.
I'm sure that would be something that a lot of people would be very interested in. So just to finish off this interview, Ankit, I'm sure you've had a lot of incidents and experiences during your MOOC journey. Is there one particular incident that stands out that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I have actually 3 incidents, which I've shared with, I think, with Coursera also, and one of them I shared with Course Talk while my interview. So one of them, when I was caught by police in the middle of night for submitting an assignment. There was a course designing cities from University of Pennsylvania, and there was a time when I didn't have a broadband connection. I had to rely on that the dongle, which comes, which is inserted in a laptop, and you can get internet access. And it was not working, and there's a deadline. I said I messed up the deadline many times. So there's a deadline, and it was 1 o'clock in the night. So I couldn't get internet connection, and I believe it can be that I'm not getting network in my house. It was like 5th story. I was living in 5th story. I went up to 9th story, but it didn't work. And there's a tower, telecom tower of the company. So I believe, okay, going nearer to it can give me a luck. So instead of 1:30 or maybe quarter to 2, in the middle of night, I was walking. I live close to highway in my town. So I was walking on a highway, national highway, in the middle of night with open laptop, just trying to get internet connection to submit the assignment. And the police party, the patrolling party of police in the night, caught me. So they asked me what I'm doing. Well, that time MOOCs were not popular. They are not even popular in my town now. So I tried to explain them. I even shown them assignments, but they actually interrogated me for 15 minutes. Asked where I live. I had to show my identity, but I didn't have that. I mean, it's 2 o'clock. You don't walk with ID cards. And yeah, well, they left me at the end, and I did finish, submitted assignment after returning back home by some sheer luck. So this was one of the incidents I keep remembering, keep telling. It's really interesting. Another was when I was trying to gaining the. I said many of the videos rely on good internet connections to download them. So I didn't have the broadband connection. I used to walk 5-6 miles every day to go to a cyber cafe, spend there 4 or 5 hours just to download few videos, then come back home, watch those videos, and doing the same process. I did it for like 3-4 weeks continuously until my internet connection has been restored to some extent. So these are interesting interests. In the middle, 44 degrees centigrade, walking every day, coming back. Yeah, well, I don't want to remember, but it was interesting that time to finish the courses. And the last was sitting in the night outside. And I shifted to Bangalore in the last phase of my project last year, and I had the same problem. I didn't have broadband connection until a few months ago. So I used to sit in the night outside in a street lamp to submit assignments, because in the night you get the good internet connection, and plus there's a peace. So in the December, you are very cold and you're sitting outside trying to submit an assignment. And it worked out. So these are the 3 interesting incidents I have to say.
Wow. Well, we all know that online learning has its challenges and is probably more difficult than traditional learning, but those certainly add to the challenges. And I take my hat off to your commitment and the way you've succeeded with getting your skills using MOOCs in very difficult circumstances at times. So congratulations to you.
Yeah, thank you. I believe it's a challenge is more in developing countries. It's not, you may not see in developed world like US, United Kingdom or Europe. It's more challenging here in India well, due to a lot of different challenge, to a lot of different situations. But I think it will change, and MOOCs are gaining more publicity and more and more acceptance. So less incident like this will happen in future. I hope nothing
Yes, well,
like these happen with anyone.
certainly, I think that viewers watching you and listening to you will be very inspired by your story, and I hope that it will encourage people to follow a similar path and to achieve their dreams and goals through what online education has to offer them. I thank you very much, Ankit.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's an honor to talk to. I'm sorry, I lost you.
Future pathway with online education, and I very much look forward to watching what you do next and where you go next.
Yeah. It's well, I'm more than inspired by people like you and many people I interviewed. Like they are getting a lot of different things, and there's a need for those people to come out and tell MOOCs and online learning is really good if people can try to make our best of it. It's a boon for those people, those working mothers who cannot leave their kids at home, and those people who spend 3 hours commuting every day to and fro to office, or the people who doesn't have much money, or people who doesn't have time to apply for proper MBA, or the people who just don't feel going back to university again. So
absolutely,
well, it's really good for those people.
A very positive note to end on, and let's hope you will have inspired a lot of people, Ankit. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.